This video is offered as a supplement to the match photo assignment. And sometimes when you do your thing in match photo, the perspective doesn't come out quite right. And this is a photograph of the palace in Hawaii. And even sometimes if you're standing in front of it and you take the picture, the sides of the building look like they're leaning inwards. So in Photoshop, you can easily fix that with perspective warp. So the first thing after you open it and rename it, don't forget to rename it, you'll go up to Edit and Perspective Warp. In this, you might get a little dialog box letting you know what the steps are, but it's relatively simple where I'm going to pick opposing corners. I'm going to pick here and drag this over to here and this one up to here, and I'm aligning it with the actual edge of the building here and the corner of the building here. Okay, and you can get up a little closer if you want to Control plus. Okay, so you see I'm a little bit off there, so I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to do this part of the building and scroll down here and get it lined up there, and then go back to over here, and I think I'm a little off there. It's a little hard to tell, but something like that. So you can see it's quite a bit of a lean in the photo itself. Okay, and I'm going to back out of that, Control minus, and make another one from basically the over here or over here, doesn't really matter. And I'm going to line it up with this edge over here. Now I'm holding my finger down, and if I lift up my finger on that, they might snap together like that. Okay, here's that little dialog box that I was telling you about. So this kind of guides you through it. So I'm going to close that, and you can see that now these two sides, or these two surfaces or planes, are joined right here at this seam here. Now this, I'm going to grab and hold down my finger and place it over here. Again, you can get a little closer to it if you're doing a very detailed job, and that's not too bad, but I'm going to readjust it a little bit like this. And I'm not going to be worried about this up here. It's going to look a little different. In fact, it's going to look strange because we're straightening out these two planes of the building here, or these two sides, but we're not doing anything here. But I'll show you in just a little bit what to do with that. Okay. So I'm going to Control minus to get back to that. And that's just roughly what you want to do. Don't worry about this being, you can pull that down a little bit. Okay, so it's roughly on the bottom of the building here. We can't see what's going on too much because there's some steps, but that might be a little bit better. And over here as well, we can pull it down just a little bit like that. Okay, so after that, then all you have to do is hit Enter on your keypad. And then these little blue grips here turn black. And from there, then you can pull the image. So I'm going to get a little closer to this again. Scroll over so you can kind of see what's going on. So you can see how it's leaning. The original photo is leaning like this. So all you have to do with your left button, hold down that black dot and start moving it with your mouse, and you can straighten out this line. Okay, so you can come over here and do the same thing. Now when the line is straight up and down, it will not have any little jogs in it. Okay, so we have to do this one here. So I'm just moving it like this. Now you're distorting the picture a little bit, but we want just a good representation of it, and we're not really worried about distorting too much of it. But this is going to look a lot better than it did before. So I'm going to Control minus again, back to this. And this is what I was talking about. So I'm going to look here, and it still looks a little bit. I'm going to move this over a little bit, something like this. Okay. And maybe this is a little too much, something like that. Okay, so that's much better there. And when you think it's pretty good like that, again, pay no attention to this up here. Okay, when you have those two faces like that, and it looks better than before, then you're ready just to hit enter again, and there it is. Okay, so this part of the building and this part of the building look better. They look straight. Okay. Now, on something like this, okay, we can do that again, but it's a little bit more difficult as far as, kind of doing this. We can make a little face here and a face here, and it's not relatively hard, but there's an easier way. So I'm going to just undo this whole process by Edit, Undo. Okay, so that's back to the original photo. And to really straighten the whole photo out, I really need to do the whole image for the perspective warp. So I'm going to Edit, Perspective Warp, and then just pick from one corner to another, and then hit Enter. And then start pulling these because I want the whole image. So I'm looking right here. Okay? And then you see it looks like it's still leaning there. So I'm going to hold down my left button like that. Okay. So now everything in the photo is straightened out. So if you can do that, that's fine. And then once you don't worry about this over here, once you hit enter, then the whole photo, or the building rather, looks more realistic as far as not leaning inward. Okay.